The Japanese Empire was an honorable empire that was killed by the Americans, as they attempted to dominate us, even though we are a peaceful utopia. We were occupied by the American Empire, as they sought to beat down the Japanese race and established Freedom Land as their new colony. Thankfully, the days of the American Empire are behind us nowadays, so we can focus on the true existential enemy, China. China was always our enemy. They attempted to collaborate with the Mongols to conquer Japan and turn it into a nation of slaves. Thankfully, due to our racial superiority, we beat back the Mongol hordes thanks to the kamikaze. We tried to get our own back after China illegally attacked our troops at the Marco Polo Bridge here, after a decade of provocations from China. When we attempted to defend ourselves, the Americans leaned in to cripple Japan, obviously for their goal of turning the East Asian region into a personal playground of colonies, dependencies, and even direct American territories. We fought honorably, as the locals of numerous colonies welcomed our troops to liberate them from their oppressors. Those locals were traitors, who switched sides to the Americans when it suited them. Finally, despite not doing anything, the Americans dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in a childish, dishonorable act only repentable by seppuku. Korea is our brothers in arms, unfortunately tricked by the Chinese and Americans that fear in fact distinct from Japan. It used to be a colony, fellow region of Japan, who had full control over their state of affairs, their currency, their major firms, and Keijo even was the first East Asian city with telegraphy, trolleys, running water and electricity all at once, clearly all thanks to our generous modernization efforts, which the peasants rejected for communism, which emphasized giving in to foreign invaders and undermining harmony by establishing a tyranny of the majority, where the majority even represented themselves. Lots of people say Japan colonized Korea, citing quote-unquote evidence such as the Japanese sent governor-generals and resident generals to Korea, which is what the British did in India, while clearly ignoring that the Koreans were culturally and ethnically part of the Japanese kingdoms before it was taken and racially diluted by China. The governor-generals simply existed to ease tensions and to speed up Korean integration back into the Japanese Brotherhood, which it had unfairly been deprived of. The census of 1925, which totally existed and I didn't make it up, stated that 93% of the Korean population wanted to join Japan, with the remaining 7% being communists, Chinese, Russians, Britishers, and feudal lords benefiting from Korean hard labor. Thanks to us, we freed these Korean laborers before promptly giving them a place to work in the mines and menial jobs, where they get to live in palace conditions compared to their time under the feudal system. Totally. Speaking of our empire, it was brutally dismembered as the Americans restructured the map to fit their colonialist ambitions. Luckily, we had an economic miracle allowing us to become a world power again. Slightly less lucky is the fact we had to rely on the US to do it, which is a betrayal of the people by the politicians. No matter, because China is militarizing, our textbooks are getting whitewashed, our self-defense peaceful clause is getting removed from the Japanese constitution. The empire will return.